Welcome to the Dusty Jobs podcast from Imperial Systems. Industry knowledge to make your job easier and safer.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Dusty Jobs podcast. We're here at Fabtech again, and joining us is Beau Wigington from WELD.com. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing good. So you have been doing podcasts right across from our booth all show too.
Right across the street, man.
Yeah.
We're neighbors.
We're neighbors. We are.
It's been real fun.
And now we're podcast friends.
Hey, we're podcasting. Like, I'm doing a podcast. You do podcasts. We're just podcast people.
That's it. So our podcast here at Imperial is we talk a lot more about health and safety in the weld industry, maybe some technologies that are coming out. But I feel bad. I don't know a lot about your podcast, and probably some of the people that are listening to ours don't know a lot about it either. So tell me what WELD.com podcast is about.
So I took over the podcast back in April, and when I took over, I'm new to the welding industry. I've been in it for about 2 years.
Okay.
And I'm curious. I want to learn.
Yeah.
I don't know everything. I don't pretend to know everything. So that's what I do on my podcast is I bring people on that I ask them what they do, try to learn things from them, and I try to ask questions like a beginner. Because that's what I am, It's like, it's not that hard for me to act like I don't know what you're talking about, because a lot of times I don't. But and I'm okay. Like, I don't mind if people are like, oh, well, he doesn't know anything. It's like, I know a lot now. I've learned a lot through this podcast, but you learn a lot.
Same here. Yeah, I have learned a lot. I mean, we've had a lot of different industries on our podcast, and I've learned about everything from, OSHA regulations down whole way down to hemp manufacturing, and these are things I never thought I would have dug into, but there we are.
There you are.
Yeah.
I do. I interview a lot of welders, a lot of manufacturers, just people in the welding, like pipe welders, production welders, CWIs.
Yeah.
A lot of our hosts so WELD.com, we have people all over the world.
Gotcha.
Like, that are making educational content for us. So, like, I've interviewed people. We have a couple of German hosts.
Okay.
And a bunch of people up in Canada. Just some people in South America. So it's really interesting hearing what the industry is like.
So if I jump on WELD.com right now, I get on there. What are some things I might get on there to learn about? What are some topics that are really good? If I'm a welder and I'm looking, what would I be finding out on your guys' website?
So our website would take you to one of two places. It would say, hey, here's our YouTube channel. We got tons of educational content on there, but we also just launched an app because everybody loves apps, right? It's not like you don't have 700 apps on your phone, right? But this one is for welders.
Okay.
Like, it's called the WELD app.
Oh, gotcha.
By WELD.com. And the big thing on it is it's instead of so Instagram is a big place for welders.
Obviously, yeah.
Everybody. But the algorithm is just, you post something and it only gets seen by X amount of people. So we have a social media aspect. So if you want to share your work, ask questions, it's not like you're fighting an algorithm. It's just there.
Yeah.
It's like you can see everybody that is.
So it's just a place for welders to share that.
Yes.
Yeah.
For welders to share if you're in the industry. So there's also a job board. So if companies are trying to hire people.
Nobody's looking for welders right now.
I mean, there's not many welding jobs
There's
out there.
a total abundance of welders in the market.
Oh, yeah. There's too many welders, not enough jobs, right? No, it's the exact opposite.
Right.
And so we have a job board where companies can post, but we're also going to implement it where a welder can put themselves out there, say, I'm certified in these things. This is how far I'll travel, and this is how much you're going to pay me.
Oh, yeah.
So, we're really trying to advocate for welders.
Yeah.
We want to grow the industry, and we also want to help people get paid what they're worth, because that's a big problem with the industry right now. You get out of school, and you try to go into the industry, and you're getting paid nothing.
Right.
Compared to what you're worth. Like, even a new welder, they're worth something. All these companies try to bring them on, and they're just like, oh, no, we're not going to hire you unless you have 5 years experience. It's like, okay, where are those guys at?
Yeah.
Where are those guys that you're going to hire on for $15, with 5 years experience? You're crazy.
That's not going to happen these days.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And why wouldn't you want to hire a guy out of school? You can train that person to weld the way you want them to weld.
Yeah,
you can train them to do it the way that they're not going to have any bad habits from other shops. They're not going to have. You can bring them into your environment and teach them. We've hired a lot of guys in our shop straight out of our trade school or our local trade school. And we know that they're getting a good education there, and then we know that they're coming in, and we can continue to build on that. So at our shop, I know we're not afraid to hire a young guy or a new guy, because in our mind that's better than someone who's.
I mean, you want to. It's like, okay, I'm going to teach you how to. You're going to learn on the job anyway.
Right.
Like if I'm going to go and do like work in plants, you're going to learn how to pipe weld in a school environment, but it's not usually going to be on the material you're going to do in the field. So
it's not hanging upside down on a crane to do it.
Yeah, you're not learning how to do it that way, and you're going to have to learn it on the job.
Right.
And that's just the crazy part. So we're trying to get more welders jobs.
Right.
Like more welders to just be out there and find good jobs. We're also doing a marketplace that we're still building that aspect of it. But instead of buying machines on like eBay, Facebook Marketplace, and then you they ship it there and it's like full of like jelly beans or something, it's like just totally worthless machine. We're going to try to vet stuff to make sure, you're getting a good quality machine, not a hunk of junk,
Well, our machines have been in the market for a while, and we've had customers call us that they've done that. They've bought it off an online site, and it shows up and it doesn't have any filters, or it's missing half the parts, and they're trying to.
And they're like, hey, what's up with this thing I bought secondhand?
Exactly.
Like, well, if you would have come to us, we could have definitely helped you out. But I'm going to still try to help you.
Oh yeah, for sure. We would definitely. We always help whoever's out there, and we have a team that can go out, and we've helped them put it back together and service it so it's up and running like new.
That's
awesome.
Yeah. And then the last part of the app, like the most important part, we're a welding education company. We're trying to educate people, so we have a whole education suite on it. So, if you want to learn how to do a specific certification test, we have videos on it with timestamps. You're like, oh, I'm only having problems with my fills on my 3G stick plate. I'm having a hard time with that filler pass. I just jump right. It's all broken out into, you don't have to scroll through it. You can jump right to what you want to see. If you have a question, the instructor that made that video is linked at the bottom. You can ask them directly the question that you have. Like if there's any questions, you got it. And also in like the feed, we have a lot of newer welders on the WELD app right now, because Instagram, you post a bad weld and everyone's just like, give up, go home, and so like that's
full of positivity.
Oh yeah, it's a wonderful environment. It's like doesn't make you want to pull your hair out. The big thing we're trying to do is make people comfortable to ask questions, because we have teachers, we have certified welders, we have CWIs, we have people that can answer a question with real knowledge and give you just help people.
Yeah,
because a big thing that's happening in the industry is old people are retiring, right?
Right.
Like the older welders that have all this wealth of knowledge, they're retiring, and that knowledge is going with them.
Right.
So, we're trying everything we can to just get that knowledge, save it. Save it and pass it on, get people connected with people that can help them grow their skills, because they're not going to just learn it in school.
No. And I know those guys that are in our shop that are older, they're excited when those young guys come in and they're willing to listen and learn. They like it when they have questions rather than just trying to do something on their own. So I think there's a lot of value in that, where there's a community of experienced welders out there that are real interested in this next generation coming up and getting them to not make the mistakes maybe they made when they were starting out. So that's awesome that you guys are doing that. That's great.
That's our big thing. We're just really we're trying to promote the app here, but it's just trying to, we're going to try to work with the CWB to work on in the Canadian content, just anywhere you go in the world. We're trying to be a global welding resource, so anywhere you are in the world, we want to help you get better. We want to help you get to where you want to be.
Well, welding's welding everywhere.
It is. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You stick those pieces of metal and it's the same thing everywhere.
Exactly.
So
how many interviews do you think you've done at the show so far?
I have no idea.
No idea.
I have at least 6 hours so
Oh
far.
man, you've been cranking
I
them out.
have some work.
Have you heard any really interesting or crazy stories so far in the time you've been doing interviews?
In the time I've been doing, yes. So one of the craziest interviews I had, there's a metal sculptor out of Canada. His name's Kevin Stone.
Okay.
Crazy. He's like building a giant replica of one of the Game of Thrones dragons. He's built like gigantic T-Rexes out of stainless steel.
Okay.
He made the giant eagle at Dollywood.
Okay.
It's like he's done some cool stuff.
Pretty legit.
Dude, that story was great. Like, he had so many like legal battles, people like trying to rip him off all the time. Like, had partners that just like screwed him over, tried to like sell stuff out from underneath him.
Oh my gosh! And this is one of your podcasts.
Yeah.
So people can go listen to that.
Yeah.
On your feed.
Absolutely.
Oh, that sounds awesome, man.
That one was pretty crazy. Here, I met a guy. His name is Mike Ride Your Bike. He's awesome. Like, one of the just very, very knowledgeable guy. But he's like so passionate about welding. But he was telling me all about bush cutter planes in Alaska.
Yeah.
He loves them. Like, he's a forestry guy. So he was working in those all the time, and he just like told me all about these bush cutter planes. And just like was so passionate about it. Like, that's my favorite thing when I'm talking to somebody. If you're passionate, it's like, that's what I like. I don't like just like, okay, here's your cookie cutter answer,
So if you listen to the Fabtech podcast you're doing, you might hear a little bit from Mike Ride Your Bike.
You're definitely going to hear from Mike Ride Your Bike. He's one of my favorite hangs so far.
Maybe Mike Ride Your Bike will get his own episode down the line.
Hey, I hope so.
There you go.
He is a wealth of knowledge, man. And
That's great.
It's crazy just hearing, because I'm trying to interview more just people coming through the conference being like, hey, why are you here? What are you trying to get out of Fabtech? And like, what do you think?
Right.
It's like trying to this is my first time at Fabtech, so I'm trying to let people not be as caught off guard as I was. I was just like, oh my goodness, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Walking in. So that's what my goal with this week is kind of give people a vibe of what it's like to be at Fabtech, like, and why it's important.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
And what's interesting is just in those two stories you shared, when we're talking about welders, and we have one guy who's a sculptor and another guy who's working on bush planes. And that's just when you start to get into the welding community, it's not just maybe fixing a fender on a car. There are so many things that you could do. There's just it's a skill set that you could probably go into a lot of fields and do a lot of really interesting things, whether from working on top of a building to working in Alaska.
That's another thing that I want to do on the podcast. Like, that's a passion of mine. When I went through school, it was like, all right, you can be a manufacturer welder, you can be a structural welder, you can be pipe welder. I was like, that's pretty lame. I was like, there's only 3 things to do,
right?
And I was like, no way. I got to learn more. And so my goal with our podcast is showing people how many different facets of the welding industry there are. So you're like, man, I really hate doing MIG welding, and I hate welding in general. Oh, well, I could go into metallurgy. Oh, cool. I can learn about filler metals.
Yeah.
I can do robotics. It's like, I don't like welding with my hands, but I can program a computer. Dude, you got a job forever, because that's where the industry is going.
There's so many robots and cobots at this show right now that if you're a young person listening to this and you're looking to get into welding, that's definitely a realm that is going to be up and coming, I feel.
It's crazy. There's laser welding, like there's like micro laser welding. There's all kinds of crazy. Like, I was so excited to see these cobots, because I was told about them, and I'm like, these things don't exist. And so like finally saw, I was like, damn,
it's
like
crazy.
That's crazy. Like, it's innovative.
Yeah.
Like, that's just gonna help people out a lot.
Right. And as we're trying to make the industry healthier and safer, those are some things that if you're, a lot of times when people were welding on really toxic materials that have to be in a respirator all day, where now the cobots are able to be there and they're able to handle that and get the actual operator away from it. And that's what we're about here, and then we can collect those fumes on that robot where you don't have to be near it. So you're healthier and go home a little better. So
you
technology.
don't get the metal fever.
Exactly.
You don't have to go home and eat a bunch of cheese and bread and milk and try to fight that metal fever.
The metal fever,
That's
exactly.
What everybody tells you. Like, that was like, I was terrified coming out of school. They're like, don't you ever weld galvanized, because you're going to feel like you have the worst like flu you've ever had. And then like one of my first weld tests I went out to take was an uphill galvanized test.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you guys have like any like fume extractors? Do you have any like respirators? And they're like, no, it's cool. I was like, awesome. Cool. Like, they warned me about this. So I like did my test like way back here. Like, I had it all stretched out, and I went home and ate like 5 cheese sticks just in case. But I think it was pretty safe.
Well, you're still here today, so that's good.
Barely.
Yeah, made it through.
Yeah.
So well, I really appreciate you sharing about what you guys have going on in there. It sounds great, exciting. If anybody's listening, they can probably find you guys on every social media platform. Or
Yeah. WELD.com is where you can find the majority of our stuff. If you're looking for my podcast, it's WELD by WELD.com. It's just WELD.
There you go.
It's like, what do you want to learn about? WELD.
There.
I want to learn how to weld.
So, well, that's great. Well, Beau, hey, I appreciate you giving us a minute today to talk. I know you probably already have people lining up at your booth because they want to talk to you.
I got to set some stuff up.
There you go. So we'll let you get going, but thanks again.
Hey, I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, it's great to meet you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we'll probably talk to you again somewhere down the line.
Oh, yeah, we're right across the street. You got to come on mine next.
There you go. Maybe you have to come up and meet us up in Mercer, PA someday.
Hey, I would love to. I mean, just seeing like the gamut of what y'all have, like it'd be cool to see it in facilities and stuff. And I really want to help get the word out for yours too.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this is American made, good stuff. You don't have to wait for it to come all the way over from like shipped from out of the country.
Yeah.
It's right here.
It's right here, service right here, it's made right here by American welders. So
That's what we're doing.
There we go.
Welders doing stuff together.
exactly.
Awesome.
So, well, thanks for listening. If you want to enjoy more podcasts from us, you can watch them on YouTube. You can check us out on Twitter, Instagram. We're on all the social media platforms. But until the next time we get to talk to you guys, stay healthy, stay safe, and thanks for listening.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks for listening to the Dusty Jobs podcast. Breathe better, work safer.